So 2019-2020 Premier League season has come to a close and Liverpool reign supreme over in England for the first time in around about 30 years. But what did this guy think? Who did I think will come out on top at the end of the season? And ultimately, who did I think will go down? We'll take a little look next. That's right, folks, back once again with another review. That's right, folks, back once again with another prediction review show or reaction show, whatever you want to call it. We'll get to that in just 1 second. If you're new to the channel, smash your subscribe button to keep you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, Premier League related, woo! Football related, boys and girls. We're going to know here. Under one Roski, that's right. We're going to take a little look at my predictions that I did take place around about this time last year, in fact, as my my overall Premier League prediction. See how completely bad I was, because I think I did pretty poop. But we'll have a look at it in just a second. But before that, I want a big shout out to the Patreon gang. You know who you are, the VIP gang, for the support of the channel as they do. There's about 12 of them right now. It's the Baker's dozen. No, it's actually just the Dirty dozen. The Dirty dozen. You could be number 13 if you step up to the plate, boys and girls. There should be a link down below, or at least in the description, patreon.com/overseas. If you want to support the channel in another way, that's right. We're talking about Dylan Goddard, hot off the press. Respect to him for joining the gang. He joins all the illustrious VIPs already. William Shepherd, LG and Cow, Bianca Muller, Daniel Mellor, Cody Cahoe, Joachim Johansson, Tom Beresford, Tom Clark, John Spurn, Russell Foss, and of course, Aztec Marky B. Mark. So respect to all of those boys and girls for supporting the channel the way that they do, boys. And again, if you are interested, there is a link down below. So let's get into it and take a little look at what I'm talking about, folks. I'm talking about my predictions that did take place back in July. Well, here we go, boys and girls. Hopefully you can see me because I cannot see you. So we're shooting. We're pissing in the wind here, boys. Pissing in the wind. Now, here is the original video I made. My 2019-2020 Premier League predictions, which I made back at end of July 2019. And I'm going to roll through it all as and where, just like I did back then. And of course, behind me is the actual Premier League table, how they all ended up. And we'll take a little look at it. I've muted the audio because you don't want to hear that clown. He doesn't know what he's talking about. So we're going to start pressing the buttons, of course. The way I do my predictions is we predict right in the middle, around about 12th, 11th spot. So we're going to start with that. Hopefully he'll step up the place and get cracking with it, of course. And then, of course, we'll take a little look behind me. So while that rolls on, I can reveal... hopefully I can reveal Southampton did finish 11th spot. So what did I think? We'll take a little look. I went for Crystal Palace. You know what? That's not too shabby. I don't know where they ended up. In fact, I should have that up on the screen as well. So let me just take a moment here for a second. So in fact, in the real world, Crystal Palace did finish 14th. We'll reveal that shortly when we get down to those lower echelons. Meanwhile, where did I put Southampton? Did I put them higher or did I put them lower? To be honest with you, you know what? I don't think that's going to be too bad of a prediction anyway. Next up into 12th. I've gone with Aston Villa way back when, which is a little bit shitty, but I went with Everton. Well, Everton in the real world, for me, it was Aston Villa. Of course, they finished just above the old drop zone, 17th in the end. So far, not great predictions, if I'm completely honest with you. It could be much, much better. So into the 13th spot, who was there in the real world? It was Newcastle United. They did finish there. Of course, right now they're talking about the hoodoo of anyone taking over, some rich bitch coming in and taking over the reins. So next season could be interesting, but of course, that has not been confirmed yet. But what did I go for in number 13th spot? Was it Newcastle or was it somebody else? I actually went with Bournemouth, and of course they've had the really, really shitty season of relegation. Of goodness gracious me, they did finish 18th, of course, just outside the old safety zone. So unfortunately, Bournemouth will be playing Blackburn Rovers next season, but Newcastle will be sticking around. So who did I put into 14th spot? I put Crystal Palace. We've already seen them in 11th. Sorry, that's the real world. So Crystal Palace did finish in 14th. But what did I pick? What did I pick for number 14? Well, if the past of the old Dirk, or the behind time, they picked them six-fingered freakazoids. That's right, Burnley, them sister lovers, them banjo-playing creeps. It is Burnley. They finished in 14th in my eyes, but of course, really, they did very, very well. And a top 10 finish, top half finish for them, so that hurts a little bit. So Burnley in 14th. It does hurt me to see them in the Premier League and us languishing in the Championship. And one day, hopefully very, very soon, those roles will be reversed once again. So next up, into 15th spot in the real world, it was Brighton and Hove Albion. They were one of my. I can remember them. I did tip them to go down, and they were looking to be in that relegation discussion for a good portion of the season, but they did turn turn it around in the end. And they look quite good. They look like an established Premier League side, just clinging on, just like we used to be back in the day. 15th for me, well, 15th was Brighton. In my eyes, what did we pick? We'll take a little look in just a second. Once he picks up the pace and stops talking about them freaks, we'll have a look at what I put in for 15th spot, which was Southampton. Of course, they did finish very, very good, very strongly at the end. 11th in the table. Hassan Hootland's got them working. A treat at the moment. They've got some really good players. Of course, Danny Ings banging in the goals. And when you've got a goal scorer just like him, you're going to do very, very well for yourself. They're going to be losing a couple of players, I'm sure, because they did end the season strongly in 11th, just outside the top 10 as well. So into 16th spot in the real world was West Ham United. Again, a side that did quash any relegation fears towards the back end of it, back end of the season. And I think I recall seeing them much higher in my predictions, probably in top 10 as well. So not great so far for me. I'll probably give myself Crystal Palace probably my best prediction so far, and even that is pretty terrible. So the lower half of the table is not great. But who did I put into 16th spot? Well, I'll tell you shortly. But next season, what can we expect from West Ham? I think, of course, Moyes' full season in charge. He might do wonders. You just don't know. You've got to keep a hold of some of the key players as well. In my eyes, I went for Sheffield United. Of course, a lot of people predicted them to go down. I didn't think they would. I think that they played a different style of football than the majority of other people that the Premier League would struggle with, and they did struggle to a point. They did finish in the top half of the table. I just expected them to just make their way. So 16th spot in my eyes. Sheffield United, of course, they finished. Where did they finish? They finished 9th in the end. 17th, I did go. 17th was Aston Villa in the real world. I went for Watford, and now here we go. Here we go, boys and girls. It's quite close. Of course, Watford did go down. They finished 19th on total. So I had them just outside the relegation spots. So I'd give myself half a point for that bad boy. Of course, Aston Villa, I had them at 12th. I had them sticking around. Maybe another people did have them going down as well. And they were close. They were close to going down as well. Just 1 point separated themselves from staying up and going down. So Aston Villa, 17th in the real world, 12th in my eyes, and also 17th in my eyes was Watford. But of course, we know they went down as well. So into 18th spot was Bournemouth. Of course, we've already seen them in 13th spot. I went for Norwich. I did see them going down, and of course, they did go down for the table. So that's not too bad a prediction again in my eyes. I think I'll give myself probably a point on that one. You know, they went down. I called it. They go down. Now, who else did I see going down with them? I think it's Brighton was one of them, and the other one might be Newcastle. We'll take a look at that in a minute. Of course, in the real world, in 19th spot is Watford. Of course, we've already seen them in 17th spot, and that's just it's a shame because I do like Watford, and it's going to be quite interesting to see who sticks around for the fight to try and get Watford back in the first time of asking. Will they get promoted the first time of asking? Will they do a Stoke City and languish? Will they do a Huddersfield and struggle? Or will they do a Sunderland and plummet division after division? I think the board are fighting to keep the stars there to bounce back at the first attempt, but it's easier said than done, of course. We know that the hard way. So do Leeds, of course. In the real world, well, in my eyes, I went with Newcastle United. Of course, they finished 13th. I did expect a season of turmoil, especially when Benitez left and Steve Bruce came in. I just didn't think that their season would pan out nicely. I thought they were going to struggle. Of course, trying to you go from caviar and Rafa Benitez to Stevie Bruce. It's not really a tale made in heaven, but of course they did finish 13th spot. But what happens next season? Does the money come in? Does the money not come in? Is it more of the same? Will it not happen? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And of course, bottom of the pops was Norwich in the real world, and in my eyes, I believe it's Brighton, which is a bit of an egg on my face. So the lower echelons of my predictions is pretty shitty, if I'm completely honest with you. I can give myself a point for the Norwich one, maybe half a point for Crystal Palace, perhaps. But that's the lower echelons. And of course, into the top 10, we're going to go now and take a little look at them six-fingered freakazoids. We've already seen where I've put them into a 14th spot. So Burnley in 10th, of course, in the real world. I have them, in my eyes, I had them in 14th spot. So not great at all. And of course, the longer Sean Dyche stays at the helm at Burnley, I think the longer they'll stay in this division. I think he's got a system working with these boys, but he might get lured. He might get lured elsewhere. Should the managerial merry-go-round kick off and some jobs come available within the Premier League, for example, if if further up the table, Wolves lose a manager and things like that, he might get lured elsewhere and that kind of stuff. In my eyes, I did have Wolves to finish in 10th. Of course, they did finish a little bit better than that, 7th. Of course, I didn't expect them to compete on multiple fronts. They're still in the Europa League, and that could end up being quite a nice little tournament for them as well if they can get to the final and maybe even win the Piston thing, because that would spell Champions League football, boys and girls. But they did finish in the top 7, which I'm sure that they were looking to do in that as well. And they also had a late push for the Champions League football. So yeah, 10th I had Wolves. Ultimately it is Burnley. Into 9th spot, Sheffield United. Yes, they did finish in the top 10. Very, very good season for them. Of course, first back in the Premier League. And of course, we've already seen them down in 16th in my eyes. But who did I have at 9th? It's probably like West Ham or Everton. Yeah, it is West Ham, of course. Completely opposites there. You swap Sheffield United with West Ham on that table, and that suits the table to the ground there. But of course, I expected good things for West Ham. They got some really good players. But unfortunately, their start of the season was very, very ropey. It didn't get much better until the end. With about the last month, they really dug their heels in and got the results to keep them in the division. They belong in the Premier League. I do believe that, and I think they belong in the top 12 for sure as well. So yeah, West Ham finishing in 16th. In my eyes, I had them down as 9th, which is pretty horrific prediction as well. Into the top 8 now, the Power 8 you can call them now, and it's Arsenal. Yeah, shambolic season for them. I think I had them in the top 4, if I'm honest with you. I think Aubameyang is a decent striker that needs to be playing Champions League football. Unfortunately, it looks like he's going to be playing Europa League football if he sticks around with Arsenal. Now, in my eyes, I had Everton tipped for the top 8 finish, and I think that was before Ancelotti came in. Now, next season is going to be a completely different ballgame. I think Everton will be in a top 8 side for sure, and will probably compete with the likes of Wolves and, dare I say it, Burnley for Europa League football next season. So they'll be looking to put the break into the top 8 in for real with Ancelotti in charge, and you never know, they might even break into the top 6. So it'll be an interesting season for Everton. Into 7th spot, it is Wolves, of course. We've already seen them, in my eyes, in 10th. But in the real world, in my eyes, I had Leicester City down at 7th. Of course, they had a really fantastic season. It did kind of go a little bit peak tong at the end there, where they dropped out the Champions League spots, but leading in that top 4 for a good portion of the season, only to fluster right at their death. It kind of kicking the bollocks though, really. So they'll be playing Europa League football and not Champions League football, which I'm sure a lot of the fans would be a little bit pissed off. But at the start of the season, I'm sure you would have all bitten your hand off for a top 5 finish, and it still might get better if things change in the Champions League. If an English club was to be victorious, I might open up the world, but I don't think so. Into 6th spot, I predicted Chelsea. In the real world, it was Tottenham Hotspur, of course. I have them maybe in the top 4. I can't really remember. But yeah, Spurs, they ended the season in positive way, and I do expect them to be right back into contention in the top 4 next season with Mourinho in charge again, full season next year. And again, hopefully he can bring in the players that he wants and to build this team around his philosophy. Because I like Mourinho. I know he gets bad flack for some of his stuff, but he's a character. He brings eyes to the game. He's a Hollywood manager. We need that sort of stuff in the Premier League to keep it moving, to keep it popping, and that kind of stuff. So Spurs in 6th in my eyes. In the real world, in my eyes, it was Chelsea. I didn't expect Lampard to do very, very well in his first season in I actually feared that he would get the sack. Into 5th spot, I predicted Spurs. We already see them in 6th, so that's not too shabby. In the real world, it is Leicester City. So you could tell, this part of the predictions, it's not too shabby. I'm just one shy from Spurs, from 5th into 6th. Leicester, I had them down in 7th. They did finish in 5th. So all in all, it's not looking too good. This back end of the old predictions ain't too shabby. But break it to the Power 4 now. And in the real world, Chelsea did finish 4th, which is great for them. Great for Lampard. Great for the signings as well. Timo Werner next season coming in. Ziyech as well, and possibly Kai Havertz to really add some really good continental flair to Chelsea, and that'll push them not only to make weights for the top 4, but possibly back into the conversation for the title again. It'll liven it up a little bit because it's gone a little bit stagnant with just Man City and Liverpool bossing it. A 3-4 horse race would be just the ticket. In the real world, Manchester United actually finished in 4th. I did have them finishing a little bit higher with Mourinho in charge. I actually had them in 4th with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in charge. Goodness gracious me. Into the Power 3 now. Into the Power 3, Manchester United did finish in 3rd. Of course, they finished in 4th with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. yeah, he did have a great start as caretaker, of course. That unbeaten run got him the job, and then it all kind of went a little bit south for him last season. But this season, the signing of Bruno turned them around, and of course got them into the Champions League football, which is great for them. Of course, getting the money, chasing the money once again, and of course, hopefully bringing the likes of Jadon Sancho and co to really ramp up Manchester United's, of course, title push with Solskjaer at the wheel. Of course, I did have Arsenal at my pick. Of course, they had a really shitty season, finishing it in 8th. I think the season prior to this one, I actually had them winning the title. So yeah, it goes to show. I think I had Arsenal tinted glasses on to see that them do very well, but unfortunately no joy. Into the final two, of course, it was Manchester City or Liverpool. Which way were you gonna go? Which way were you gonna go? Well, I actually got this one bang on the nose, boys. I believe Manchester City in second and Liverpool first is how they ended up. How did I predict? I'm pretty sure I went the same way as well. So not too shabby ending to this old prediction. I think I called it. Of course, Liverpool were in the race last season, and they were just unfortunate to miss out on the title last time around. And as you can see it right there, I did go for Liverpool first and Manchester City second. I did have United in the top 4 as well. So realistically, picking 3 of the top 4 at the start of the season, especially with the circumstances around it, with Chelsea's Lampard in charge, a questionable Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in charge, I think I did okay there. And ultimately, yeah, it's not the greatest Premier League outcome. The back end of it is pretty ropey, but ultimately, I think I did okay. And I'll be back again, of course, to do it all over once we know who will be in the Premier League, and of course, who is going to be relegated to the Championship. We already know who's relegated to the Championship, but we need to know who will be that final team in the 2020-2021 season, next season. But that, my friends, is it. Yeah, hopefully you can still see me, boys and girls, and that is your lot for my Premier League predictions. Well, what do you think about that? What do you think? Do you think I did well? Do you think I did shit? I think I did I did an okay. I would have given myself a C or a C plus for that. And that's being a little bit generous, of course. But we'll do it all again. Like I said, we'll do the 2020-2021 predictions. Probably in the month of August sometime. We'll give them a bit of a breather once the fixtures come out and all that kind of jazz. I think we'll roll with it then. And of course, but it can all change with the late transfer window rolling into the month of October. So, you know, you get your predictions in early and then somebody signs Kylian Mbappe. You just don't know. You just don't know. But that's all I've got for you, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash that thumbs up. And if you are new, bang the old subscribe, boys and girls. We've got it all here under one roof ski. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to be doing each and every one of the divisions, of course, starting here with the Premier League all the way through to the League 2. Take a look back at all my predictions there. And of course, going into the continent, take a look at the La Liga, Bundesliga, and of course, Serie A, boys and girls. Serie A. Until then, though, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Smash the thumbs up. Check out the description, links to my other social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, and of course, Patreon if you want to support the channel in another way. That's the way to do it. But until then, I'm going to slide. Thanks again for watching. Please like, share, and most importantly, hit the subscribe button to keep you bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers related, Championship related, football related. We've got it all covered right under one roof. And while I still have you, please be sure to check out some of the old videos scattered along here. I hope.